There's loads around Newtown to see. So you've got the river itself and all the playing fields, you've got the town hall grounds, you've got the park in the central ground for children as well. You've got Powys Castle, Dolvorwin Castle, you've got Montgomery Castle, loads of history around here as well. Even things like the Kerry Ridgeway on the hills, which you can walk from right into England at Bishop's Castle as well. In the town itself, there's just lots of space to do things. You've got the museums, Robert Owen Museum, you've got the Textile Museum, and you've got the market on a Tuesday as well. So yeah, there's loads to see and do. I'm Richard Edwards, so I'm the Social Enterprise Officer. The Cultivate project has been running a couple of years now, and it was started with big lottery funding as Get Growing, part of Come Harry, and the aim had been from the beginning to turn it from a lottery funded project into a social enterprise. So we're in the process of doing that at the moment, and by next year hopefully it will be mainly a social enterprise. So at Cultivate here we've got a community nursery, which we're one of the polytunnels we're sitting in at the moment. We've got a community market garden, we've got a food hub, and the food hub we work with local producers to buy their vegetables, and then we box it up and sell it out in boxes as well. We're in the process of setting up an e-commerce site so we can have more producers feeding, such as apple juice, honey, eggs, all of these can go in and be sold as well. And that's a way of helping local producers, micro producers and very small producers to have access to the market. And that's been one of the things we tried to do from the beginning. So not just encourage more people to buy local produce, but actually then give the people who grow or produce that produce a market to sell it in. So we can expand both the people who want to buy it and then expand the producers as well, creating jobs in the process. So we do training from all sorts of things. We got micro allotments here where people can get involved on the site growing their own food, and we can give training for that. But also we do training such as grafting, we do pruning trainings as well. We do a training in conjunction with the National Botanical Gardens of Wales, where we show people how to grow over a gardening year. So they come in once a month over the year and learn season by season or month by month what they should be doing in the garden. So they can start with no skill whatsoever and build their skill up over a course of time. And there are many other courses we run as well.
As a horticulturalist, I coordinate the growing on the sites, and I'm here to advise people on what they can grow and how they can grow. The aim, I suppose, of the whole project is to get people engaged with food, so they can see it growing, know how it grows. They can just come into the garden and enjoy being here. They can sit and enjoy it, and there's perennial planted areas, so there's crops in the ground that they can just come and harvest and eat. But we've also got these micro allotments, which are these small beds you can see here, and they're for individual people, so people can take that on for a year for £10. They come and build their own raised beds, or just put the soil in and put their own plants in there and take their own harvest away. So for growing some salad or peas and beans and things, and it's big enough that you can actually get quite a good crop, but small enough that it's not daunting, and if you go away for a couple of weeks and come back, it's not the end of the world, there'll still be stuff there. So there's individual plots, and then there's communal growing space as well.
We're trying to develop the whole site as one holistic approach. So you've got trees that'll be espaliered around the edge here as well. We've had local artists who have come in and done wicker work for us. And a lot of it is still in development. It's only our second full year. And on this side, we've got raised beds. We make the raised beds here ourselves. We've got another person comes in, another part of the community project. People can buy them and we're using them ourselves. These have actually been experimental beds last year to do trials in. There'll be something else again this year. So at the moment I'm fitting a water harvesting system on the site so we can collect the rainwater and use it on site, and I've also get work on the ground with working out the rotations for the crops and what we should grow. I've got my own market garden myself outside of Newtown by Kerry, so I use that experience to actually build a market garden here at the same time. We're going to have a rainwater harvesting system, so the containers you see here will fill with water off of the gutterings on the roofs, and that will go pipe work into different troughs, or an old bath in that case, for people to use around the project. Over here we have our composting area in various stages, so all the compost from the site goes on here, and we leave it for the time needed, and then we can use our own compost back on the site again. We also have the grass cuttings from various places around Newtown are brought to us. We mix them with paper and make compost, which again we use on site. So we're building the fertility of the area all the time. So this is our allotment area. We've got quite a few allotments here. Nearly all of them are rented out now, and most of them are new to gardening, not all of them are, so they can come here and in a smaller area just learn the basics about gardening. And it's amazing how productive they are. This is the worst time of year to see them because it's spring, so even the winter stuff, most of it's finished. But in the summer, they're amazingly productive. You have everything you can imagine here: onions, peas, beans, brassicas, courgettes, squashes, cauliflower, the whole range of vegetables. And people can do with them as they want. So some have made them into raised beds themselves, some have bought raised beds from us and put down there, and some people are doing a more traditional system of actually killing the grass by digging it over or mulching it, such as this one here. You can see it's been dug over and are planting the vegetables in. We've got broad beans just coming up down there, someone's got spring cabbage, and here, like over there, they've got purple sprouting, so it's just ready. Amazing thing, purple sprouting broccoli, such a short season, but it is really, really beautiful and tasty at the same time as well. You're basically eating the flowers of a plant, which is very, very nice. We have community events here, open days, and other people can, if they've got allotments, can come down here as well. So we've got an area to have a fire and sit, and a barbecue as well. And we've also built a shelter, a roundhouse. It's an Inchester structure, so basically it's just built where it is, turf roof, but all the inside of it at the moment is, on the roof, is insulated with sheep's wool, and we'll fill these panels in and insulate them as well. So again, we could have something such as a fire in there for people to sit in on colder days, or just a place to chill out and relax, really. These are called hugel culture beds, which were new to me when Steve from here decided on doing them. You can see at the back one over there, there's wood at the bottom. So this literally is all the old wood on this site at the time we first came here, or at the bottom of these beds. You put the turf on top, and then over time the wood rots down, so you have a long release of fertility from the wood into the soil. Last year we had courgettes and squashes over all of these here. It's incredibly productive, and this year it's going to be potatoes, salads and kale that are going to go on them. And then finally at the top here we've got the market garden section of this year, again still being prepared. So these will be raised beds, minimal tillage system, which means once you've dug it, they will never be dug again for the sake of digging it. You might get potatoes out or parsnip and turn it over, but you'll never actually dig the soil again. They will stay in raised beds without wooden edges, just raised beds like that. And it means it's less labour intensive doing it that way. You put the compost on top and it makes the soil much richer over a period of time.
Rising oil costs is leading to higher prices in food, and that's going to continue. So enabling people to grow their own affordable food and giving them the ability to do that by sourcing bits of land that they can grow on and giving them the knowledge and the confidence to go ahead and grow their own food is very important. And with the climate change really hitting us at the moment, large-scale agriculture and monoculture is a threatened food system. So we will have more security in our food if we can grow it locally and use local provenance seed, get involved in seed swapping, and plant a variety and diversity of crops so that we've always got food security.
So the blog is more to do with what's happening on site here, and the Facebook page is more to do with what's happening on site, but events also as well. So people can call down here as well. Every Wednesday we have a volunteer day. If people come down here and volunteer, then at lunchtime with the local produce we make food and people can have a cooked lunch here as well, so in return for their work on the site. So this week, for instance, we'll probably have a soup or something, and it'll be swede from the site, it'll be parsnip from the site, it would be purple sprouting as well, all sorts of things that we grow locally, including some of the salad here we would use to make a meal out of, and that's every Wednesday. So if you want to come down, Wednesday's a day to come.
And so any of those links, Cultivate, Come Harry or Get Growing, and you'll find links to the community gardens that we're doing. So this is the second community garden of the Get Growing project, and then the third one is going to be in Llanfathlin, which we're just starting now.
This is the River Severn Custodians. And we're a volunteer group that we, just out of interest in the river and the health of the river and the facilities of the river, and we're just trying to make sure that it stays in nice condition and is a lovely place for people, local people, our own Newtown folk, to go and enjoy. It's part of a national scheme trained officially by the Rivers Trust. We do lots of things. We're monitoring the health of the river by checking these river fly larvae on a monthly basis. The good thing about this is that it not only helps us check the state of the river, but also once you build up a database on the number of larvae that are normally here, if we do a sampling 1 month and the numbers are very low, that means there's been some kind of pollution episode or something that bad has happened, and they will charge out as soon as we send in our results and find out what went wrong, so they'll actually fix it. So it's a practical scheme as well as an academic scheme. In addition, we've surveyed up and down the river for the river banks, what's there, the birds, the flora, and we've been busy trying to eradicate the nasty invasive species on the river as well. There are 3 things in particular that are a real problem here. One of them is giant hogweed, which is a very nasty plant introduced by the Victorians, that if you touch it and get the sap on your skin and the skin then sees sunlight, it burns you and will scar you for life. If you get it in your eyes, it can blind you. And a lot of people in the town don't even know this thing exists. Its seeds spread along the river, so it's found everywhere in Britain along riversides. And we're cutting it down where children play or people walk, and where people might encounter it. We're trying an education program. We've put posters in the local library to tell people about this plant, to stay away from it. And there's also the Japanese knotweed and the Himalayan balsam as well, which are invasive species. And in the water, there's the American signal crayfish, which we've also been monitoring. We've been trying to find the native species, but apparently they've been booted out by the American. And we have a lovely website called riverseverncustodians.co.uk, where we tell all the people about this. So these are the sort of things that we do, and we're just a group of people who want to take care of our river and make Newtown a nicer place. And we welcome any new volunteers.
There's a flatty. It is. You can go in there. 2 more flatties.
Mid Welsh Town is a charity that works across Wales, and we work with community groups and individuals to improve the area around where those people live. So it could be planting a community garden, it could be a litter pick, it could be hauling rubbish out of the river, rights of way, lots of different things to do with the environment.
It's a nice place, the people are good people, the nice people, you know what I mean? And yet no one seems to want to help each other to sort of do anything. Do you get what I'm saying? As a musician, from a musician's point of view, you do need more, definitely need more live entertainment venues.
I mean, the high street is slowly dying, the shops are closing, and the people just aren't coming into the town as much anymore as what they used to. You know, I'll give it a few more weeks and see if it picks up at all, but if it doesn't, well, it just isn't going to be economically viable for me to come here.
If they're going to increase the rates, nobody's going to come, are they? You know, people will start going elsewhere, they won't travel here anymore.
We roll up very early in the morning, sort of 6:30, 7:30, there's cars parked everywhere. Well, that it's so inhibiting for us because obviously we can't set our business up, and there's no help. And you phone the council up, then they blame, or you need to phone the police. You phone the police, they blame the council's responsibility because it's market day. No one does anything about it.
I think it's driven by the people, and I think the council would spend the money if people asked for it and people wanted it and demanded it. I think it's catch-22 because if you don't express any interest in your local community, then you don't form the lobby group that makes the government do something.
You know, there are sort of individual issues that need sorting out, but I don't think there's anything too much wrong with Newtown.
The increase in traffic, and I think that has really hurt local businesses.
I think one of the biggest problems in Newtown is traffic. It's a huge problem.
It's hampered and it's made a lot worse by the fact that as a small market town, we're sandwiched between a railway and a river. So the access is very, very limited.
And a lot of people within the town don't come into the town centre because of the traffic congestion. So when we have that bypass, it'll be really helpful for the town. I think it'll help businesses, manufacturing businesses come into the town again, more jobs, higher paid jobs. I think the bypass will be really positive for the town.
I would like to see the traffic lights replaced with open spaces, with areas that aren't under signal control, because we have such a quantity of them within such a short space. I think there's approximately 6 sets of lights, all within a mile of each other. That really doesn't help people trying to commute either through the town or for anybody trying to get in to deliver groceries or goods or things like that. So that needs to be addressed, but that will be addressed in time, and I'm sure we'll see a great reduction in traffic as soon as the bypass arrives.
And of course they're awaiting the saviour, which is going to be the bypass that's going to come across the back here.
Do you think that'll help?
I think it will ease the problems. I don't know whether it'll totally cure it.
I think that reopening the canals would be a very, very good idea, because this is a very touristy part of the world. It's a beautiful part of the world. It's absolutely steeped in history. And after watching the first half of this documentary with Rory, who conducts the Ghost Walks, absolutely fascinated by the amount of history that there is in this particular area. Where do I see it going? Well, I could see a bright future for Newtown, especially with the introduction of an hourly train service as well, which will allow local people to at least commute to work up to Shrewsbury and places like that. But more importantly, for other investors to think, well, hang on a second, Newtown's a good place to set up stall. Hopefully we can see an increase in engineering and manufacturing and those sort of businesses.
Clearly there's been a problem of access to the town because of traffic problems, and as much as anything else, the perception of traffic problems. I mean, there are traffic problems sometimes of the day, but most of the day it's perfectly open. But there is an issue with that, which hopefully the new bypass in another 2 or 3 years will clear away. I think Newtown in particular has got an absolutely massive potential. I think it's a great. If you got a lot of money, buy some cheap housing in Newtown because you're going to make a fortune. I mean, clearly the wind farm companies, National Grid, the Welsh Government are probably the worst culprits of all. They don't want people to realise the scale of their plans. I mean, Mid Wales for them is just somewhere where they can build wind farms, so they can fly a flag saying, "Aren't we fantastic? Aren't we doing our bit to save the world?" It's nothing but a PR flag for the government. I think the way they're treating Mid Wales in that respect is an absolute scandal, and we've made a pretty good fist of opposing them. The people have really risen up with protest. Like, I don't think the Welsh Government has seen protest before. They might in the end do what governments do in a Stalinist type way and impose their will on the people, but they've had a fair fight.
I think they get a surprise, don't they, when they actually do come in and see it?
Yes, they do. And I was front of house in the last play, and there were quite a few new faces, and they were all pleasantly surprised when they stepped in. And it's always lovely to see new people. It really is. Now then, this is a 40s dress. Now, look at this tiny waist.
Yes, Gaynor.
Isn't that just perfect? Mary and myself took some of these costumes to Gregunnog, to the Antique Roadshow, didn't we, Mary? It was dated at 1886. All this, all the detail and everything on it is absolutely perfect. They thought, or they told us, that it was a dress for a very smart occasion. And we have got recollection, haven't we, of somebody going to Buckingham Palace.
In this, yeah.
Yes. This was pre-1900s, wasn't it?
It was.
It's a beautiful costume, this one. I don't think there's anybody in the society at the moment that could get into this one.
I don't think so.
And again,
this isn't the wedding dress, is it?
I think it is.
I think it's the Victorian wedding dress. 1870 to 1890. It was a nightmare.
So much work, and everything had to be recycled. You spent weeks just pulling nails out of timber so we could reuse the timber
to use, yeah. I had a tin trunk full of nails that
But all that wood was reused, and a lot of it was used on the stage, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So, and one of the first jobs I was given when I was here was when Reg sawed off the table legs. We didn't have any money, we were so short of money, weren't we? And he says, try and make 2 table lamps out of these, and they're still in the foyer.
At the moment we're doing 3 productions a year. November, February and sort of May. Then we break for the summer, obviously because we own our own building here, so we have to maintain it, we have to look after it, we have to sort all the costumes out, tidy up, because inevitably as you're doing 3 performances on the trot, you know, with only like a week break in between each, if you like, before we finish one. And then we've got a week just to kind of recuperate, and then we're straight into rehearsals for the next one then, and that's, you know, there's three on the trot then, so it's quite intensive, so things can get a bit messy. The guys are busy disassembling a set from the last play that we've just finished a couple of weeks ago. You can see we don't really hold back when we build the sets, so we make them as real as we possibly can, and within 2 or 3 nights it'll be completely gone and have a nice big open empty stage again. A sort of unique design that one of our old members came up with, and it means that we can put sets up pretty quickly, and it means we've got a lot of time then to sort of dress the set, make it look really professional. I mean, we're only amateurs, but you know, we have standards. We've got some old cinema seats here, which I think came from somewhere over Bridgenorth way. Probably getting on for 20 years probably. This gives it a real feel of a theatre. I think our audience really enjoy that. Anybody can come and join. You know, there's no age restriction, and you know, we meet every Monday and Thursday evening, 7:30. Come along, you'll be made most welcome. Have a cup of tea, coffee, biscuit. We've always got biscuits, and everyone just gets stuck in, has a good time, and a bit of banter, and you know, it bonds everybody together. You know, and we all, you know, we thoroughly enjoy ourselves, and we'd really like more people to come and help us out. It's a real Aladdin's cave. I mean, you know, David Dickinson would have a field day in here probably. The audience never need to see you, you know, but we need, you know, people on the props, people on the stage managing, people on the technical, as I said, and people help in front of house as well. And when you see people leaving saying, "Oh, well done," you know, we really enjoyed that. You know, that's what it's all about.
There's potential starting up like local business or something like that if you have the same background, like artist backgrounds or anything. I think, you know, you get like a lot of inspiring things because it's nice and peaceful. You can get on with things. most people around here.
The gallery's actually been here as a building since the 1960s, with money left by the Davies sisters to build a community and arts building for the people of Newtown. And it was built by their nephew, the Right Honourable Islam Davies. But it was a memorial gallery that he had built. So it was always built as a gallery originally. The Davies sisters made Gregory Hall a centre for the arts, and that was always their vision. And they achieved it, and they had artists, literary figures, musicians. They were both musicians as well. Artists of real repute who came and visited Gregory and stayed there and were part of the artistic scene in the 1920s.
Newtown strikes me as a very, I wouldn't say gifted, but a very opportunist area, because it's the largest town in Powys. It still has a relatively low demographic in regards to population, but the amount of facilities that we have here that are currently underused is quite vast. We're talking about a small market town that has a leisure centre with a running track. We have a theatre and a very well-known college. We have a golf club, a football club, and yet these things are so underused and people don't know about them. We also have a skate park. We have all of these facilities that can be capitalised on by the people of Newtown if they so wish.
One of the biggest assets that we've got in this area is our beautiful countryside. So we've got to do our best to make the most of that. I don't think we make enough of it. There's huge investment in the Elephant Castle a few years ago, and part of their work was making the windows bigger, overlooking the river. And if you go down the River Severn, you see a lot of perhaps businesses and properties perhaps not making the use of that beautiful river as much as they could be. And I know part of the Elephant Castle work was making the windows larger so people can actually see that the assets that's right in front of them. Well, I think not much. I think the biggest change happened probably about when I was born, in about the 60s and 70s. There was huge government investment into Newtown, and that really increased the population of the town. A lot of manufacturing came into the town. Then with that, there was a need for extra housing, so a lot of people moved in from other parts of the country. But over the last 15-20 years, there's not been a huge amount of change.
I moved here 4 years ago, but I did actually have a spell of living here about 20 years ago, just for a couple of years, so it was just a snapshot. But when I came back, I did feel that people were perhaps a little more negative about Newtown than they had been when I first came.
Business going in and out, that's about much change I've seen. Skate park was a new addition.
I think Newtown, I can see Newtown as having changed from being a sleepy, deteriorating town into a quite dramatically changed. Newtown is coming through that now, and is actually quite a vibrant town. I can never understand the pessimism about it. Whenever I go to Newtown, I find it a busy town. I just find it it's a really nice Mid Wales market town.
If I was to pick 3 words that I think would sum Newtown up, I would say opportunity to thrive.
Ugly, lovely town.
Needs an MOT.
Quiet. Staid. It's quite beautiful, so beautiful.
3 words: charming, historic and green.
It's got a hell of a lot of potential, and people can't see that.
Newtown is the driving force of the Mid Wales economy, and I grew to know the town well and to have a huge well, I have a love for the town, and I think it's a wonderful town, and I'm a big fan.
People have a good, an enjoyable way of life. Most people are quite contented. In a poll a few years ago, Powys came out as very high in the contentment states.
It's a really beautiful town, and people need to open their eyes and look at what we've got. It's the largest town in Powys. It needs people to be proud of it and to carry on building it. And it's got a fantastic gallery.